This is just a quick lesson on using Studio One. So once we've entered the software, the first thing we want to do is click on Create a New Song. So I'll do that. And we get our new song dialog box. We don't need to do anything in there really. You can give it a name if you want. Just call it new song. And you don't really need to go through and touch any of this. And then click OK. And then you get a fresh new song. There's nothing on it, nothing to worry about. And we can start afresh here. So once we're in, I'm going to teach you how to choose and drag in loops. So over on the right hand side we have a list of different things we can access: instruments, effects, loops, files, cloud and pool. We're just going to focus on loops for the moment. So you can get into loops either by clicking loops here, or you can use the tabs along the top to get into loops that way as well. And then clicking on home gets you back into this menu. So I'll go into my loops. Now I can sort my loops a number of different ways, and that can be really handy. I can sort them by instrument is how I usually do it, but you can also do it by style. Could be handy if you want to create a bluesy sort of song. You've got all the bluesy loops all in one spot, and then they're sorted by instrument. So we'll leave that for now. So I'm just going to put together a bit of a song. I might start with the bass. So not many loops here for the bass guitar, but we can audition these by double clicking. So hopefully you can hear that. This particular loop is only going for 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. It finishes there just before the start of the 5th bar. And usually you probably want to keep a riff going a bit longer than that. So you can duplicate this one. It's a bit easier than cut and paste, either by pressing the D key, which creates it straight away like that, or you can right click and click on duplicate there. And you can do that as many times as you want, and it just creates a continuous loop. You can zoom out using this one here and you can see all the loops there together. And we can play that and it will just run through. Okay. Next thing, because we're going to get bored with that pretty quick, is we can add some drums. So we've got our bluesy drums. Let's have a look what's here. We can audition these just by double clicking. Try a few different ones. Right, when we find something we like, we can simply just pull that in. Just being careful to line up the start of your loop with the bars. So here I'm starting this loop at bar 5. If it's sort of in between, or sort of in the middle like that, it might sound a bit strange. It's not, the loop's not designed to be put in that way. So now we've got our sort of bass guitar intro. And then the drums will come in. There it is. Okay. And then you can just build up your song like that by choosing different loops. Pop this one in here. See how that sounds. Just change that audio input there. Hopefully you could hear that a bit better towards the end. I'll play it again for you. Okay, some other techniques we can use here. I'll zoom that back in a little bit. you'll see a little wedge shaped thing in the corner of my tracks here. There's another one here. And they have that at both ends, and that's just a fade in. So I can fade the drums in if I want to by just clicking on that and pulling it down. I could fade my bass in all the way here if I wanted to. See how that sounds? Fade my drums in as well. Okay, the other thing I'd like you to play around with a bit is our mixer. So over here we have these, which are essentially just volume levels for each instrument. There's two different ways we can adjust the volume for each instrument. This is one easy, sort of simple to get to way. But if we double click in this sort of area, it'll bring up our proper faders. The other way to get to that is just down in the bottom right hand corner, this mix button here brings that up, and that also gives us a bit of a reading on how loud each instrument is and how loud our main input is. So if we want to turn something up a bit, notice how when I move this, it moves the slider up here as well, because that's essentially the same thing. Okay. Another thing we want to just make sure of, you might have noticed that over here it's gone red and it says 142, and what that means is essentially I'm pushing the volume beyond where it can really cope with. So when we export the file, we don't want it to have any distortion or what we call clipping in there, so we want to make sure that doesn't go into the red. So I play it again, and then you just set these, and as you're setting them, if you see this go up at all, you know you need to either turn something down here, or you might need to adjust the main mix as well. It's my phone going off in the background. Yeah, so that's that for now. Have a play around with that. Make sure you're quite confident with the techniques I just showed you before you move on to the next thing.